I'm a Pollboy now, and Pollboy looks like a very proud farm. Bembo farm there with its pasture raised eggs, turkey, beef and lamb. And there's a phone number there should like to inquire about them. This is otherwise known as the Yellow Hole, and I'm wondering if that muddy bit beside it is the Yellow Hole. I haven't gotten into the field yet myself. And the storyteller here is James Gilmartin. James has probably done a big favour here keeping this door available for us public to visit for 2 months, because this looks like a very active place for cattle. There is an electric fence in the distance. There's good pasture over there to keep the animals away from that, so that'll be eating for the animals a bit later on. Again, I'm not hanging around here to listen to the story and give a review on the spot. And in here is even a trust box for buying your own eggs. And there are concerns about gold prospecting, so it's not only the spread of forestry by vulture fund people from different countries, there's also the threat of trying to find gold in Leitrim. I'll wait until the storytelling, but it wouldn't surprise me if that hill up there has something to do with this, with the gold. I will review this later, make the phone call and give you a review in my home studio so I can get to the rest of the doors today. I was considering doing 4 doors today. I've done 3 and I might dare the 21st. Let's see if we do that. So this one, it's going up to the door, making the phone call at Pollboy, and Pollboy, otherwise known as the Yellow Hole is the translation. And again, as at all the doors, a very different style of storytelling. And this has been the most wonderful thing about this project, and the biggest surprise is how the storytelling and the style is so different at each place. This time, and this is the first time it's actually happened, we've had conversations amongst 2 or 3 people in the family, but this was like a family reunion on this one. Very much a family affair, going through the message. I can't remember how many speakers there were, and I certainly don't remember the names. There must have been at least 10 speakers. And there was Mari. Mari started off meticulously describing the farm that they work and the townland boundaries where they are, what other townlands are mixed in with the farm. And then Mari describes the past families that were on the land and around the land, and she named them. And then she finished off talking about the roads and how they serve the community and how they connected everybody. And after she said her little piece, James Gilmartin came on next. James started off by describing how he's the eldest of 5 children, and then talked about what they do on the farm. They've got sheep, they've got poultry. I didn't catch if they got cattle. They might have got some small cattle. But as you saw in the other clip, they do sell eggs, and they have the self-service egg box there as well. And he also James actually briefly talked about his beekeeping, which he enjoys as well. But most of James' talk, it was all about the threat of the gold mining, which I said on the other clip. And apparently it's a Canadian company, and they want to move into the area, do their gold mining. And what James is fearful of, and quite rightly so, is that once this Canadian gold mining company comes in, that's going to totally destroy the community. So James then described how the community of people that are still living there, how they've strongly come together as a strong community to actually work together and defend against the arrival of this Canadian gold mining company. Another woman came on and described how people in the past had actually arrived on the land to speculate for gold. So this is not new. And she said that the people that came in the past, they didn't arrive with them on equipment like a Canadian gold company would have. They turned out with their spades and wheelbarrows and their shovels and wheelbarrows, and they dug holes, but they ended up leaving holes in the fields where they dug. So this woman, sorry, I don't know her name, but she described what the local people did with those holes that had been formed, because people dug holes. They didn't just fill them up and go away again. They left the holes. So she described how the local people used the holes for what they did. I think they put their rubbish down there or something like that. But various other people started coming along onto the recording, giving a brief chat. Most of the members that came to have a chat, they wanted to chat about their other family members and how they all linked up. They wanted everyone to understand the family tree. And they also told stories about the courting and how they came together, and a bit about the marriages that truly brought them together. And now, one woman in this sequence of speakers, she said that she came from Sligo. Being a town lass, an urban lass, the people around her in Sligo said, "Oh, no, you don't want to go off to Leitrim. You don't want to marry a farmer because you will never, ever have a penny again." But she said she's absolutely loved it. And all the people pointed out as they were speaking was how lovely the local people are, both past and present, how wonderful everybody's been, and also how they got together in the evenings to share their stories through fireside tales and kept their community very much alive. And one man, he told a story typical of what they would have shared around the fireside tales. And this was about a Columkill prophecy. And his prophecy was about the arrival of a black pig. And when that black pig arrived, talk about the return of the Messiah. This is kind of reverse of that. Columkill's prophecy wasn't talking about a Messiah. It talked about this black pig. And when this black pig arrived, everything would go dark. Everything would go black, and that'd be the end of the world. Gripping stuff anyway. And someone else gave a story about the local post office. There was a very small local post office, and that became too small to be a post office, they said. So it became a telegram office. And today that building that was a telegram office is now a small residential cottage. But I didn't get to go along and see it. Then after all that and the family saying their bit, there was a final speaker. And there was a man who told a story about mountain treasure, very linked to the gold, I suppose. But he said the mountain, if you look at the other clip, I said, oh, look, there's a mountain behind. They'll probably be talking about that on this phone call message. Well, here it is. It's a tale about this mountain. And at the top, there's treasure. He tells that there's a lock up there on the top of the mountain. Well, I looked on the Ordnance Survey map, and I didn't see a lock there, but what I did see was a river source. And where there's a river source, there's often a pool. If anybody's visited the Shannon Pot, you know what I'm talking about, something like that. The story that this man told, he said that within that lock, at the top of the mountain there's a casket of treasure or a pot of gold. So no wonder there's been a gold rush in the past, and this Canadian company are interested. They've heard the story. Anyway, his tale that he told of some lads who dug drains. They went up to the top of the hill to where the lock is, and they wanted to get to this pot of gold. So what they did was dig drains so the water would run down the hillside, and it would. The theory was it would empty the lock, and it would reveal the pot of gold or whatever the treasure is. And once they could see it, it might be much easier to haul away. As the water was draining away, the story goes on that a monster jumped out of the lock and it chased the lads away, and they never returned again. But then he said there are more stories that the drains the lads did, they filled up, the lock filled back up. So other people that were speculating, they went up the hill and they went into the lock and they dived down for treasure, but they never returned. So maybe that's going to happen to the Canadian prospectors when they come and try to get the gold. But most people locally, they do believe that that mountain behind them is actually protecting itself somehow by something. So that may be why Pollboy translates out as the yellow hole, because of those stories of the hole where the pot of gold is. But that's just me in speculation there. Forgive me, this I haven't given the other doors where I've done a review. I haven't given out so much information about the stories. I've always said is go to the door, make the phone call, listen to the full story yourself. And I've just given you a kind of roundabout review. But seeing as the door, this wonderful door program has been going on for 2 months, Wonderful exhibition. Seems we're only about 2 or 3 days away from it finishing. I thought this time I can take the liberty of telling you some of the stories in more complete form rather than say, go to the door and listen to it. The phone numbers are still going to be active. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm moving these stories onto Facebook quite quickly, and then I have to reprocess them a little bit more to get them onto the YouTube, and I'm doing the whole collection on YouTube. And what I'll do on the YouTube collection is add the phone numbers with each video. Hopefully the phone numbers will be more active, but we'll know more about that next week. Anyway, thank you to listening to me reviewing after I made the phone call at Pollboy, and I trust you found it fascinating. Achieved my goal today. I got one more to go to. So thank you for watching this video. I look forward to you watching my next review of Amach doors in the field.